Greetings, Elder Blacklight. We're going to follow up on the video called Rat Race is Population Control. This is part 2, and there will be a continuation. You can't bow down to two masters, two gods. One, you will be, how can you be loyal to two masters? In the Nation of Islam, some of our general orders is we don't take on mixed instructions. So if the top rank, the higher rank gives you an order or an instruction, and then another rank comes of a higher rank than yours and give you different instructions than the first instructor, it is your duty to tell the second, I don't take on mixed instructions. And if it's any confusion, you will call an officer that is assigned to handle confusion. So our God in the Nation of Islam is Master Farad Muhammad. Now, often the Honorable Elijah Muhammad would refer to gods as also being scientists. So we're going to handle this in a scientific way. So we don't want to keep it mysterious and spooky and so forth. We want to handle these things in a scientific manner. And so we're going to give you a dialogue of the opening of this video here. The rat race is population control. There are two gods of this world that we're living in, the present world. The creator of all, which represents himself as Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. Then the God of this animal world is the God of this world. This God thinks he's an animal. And he refers to people, the population, as the top ranks of the animal kingdom. Is man an animal, or is man a god? The difference is one is man and one is mankind. We'll explain that to you as we go. I'm about to show you the God of the rat race, who prefers to themselves as the human race. But it's really mankind, a kind of a man. And he thinks of himself as an animal. This is the God of the rat race. And the God that we follow in the Nation of Islam, we also call ourselves little gods. We refer to themselves as uh, the God Nation, who refer to themselves as Muslims also, and also as Allah, from the tribe of Shabazz, which name means the greater taker. Master Farad is Allah in the person of Master Farad. These are the Rothschilds. These are the gods of this present world, meaning that they designing the social structure through banking and illusions and technology. This is Mayer Rothschild, the father of the banking industry. You could say it's the God of this world today. This is why, or where the term rat race comes about, through a scientific experiment to cultivate a social design from a social engineer under the rule of the Rothschilds and population control. Right here you see the various categories that came out of this experiment. At the top one is homosexuals or pansexuals. Group 2, some nameless. So nameless. Group 3, provers. So it was a social design while we got homosexuals. Social engineering, put it like that, while we got homosexuals. Now this here is Rat City. It's a small culture that this scientist named Calhoun laid out. What he was doing was uh, designing cities for humans under this experiment. So we're going to pick it up from here and then go to part 3 on a later day. Uh-oh. I dropped my pointer.
Behavior had been so inexorably altered that none of their pups survived beyond weaning. This short article enraptured its US audience, and the effects on both the scientific world and popular culture were immediate. People began to relate Calhoun's rat experiments to modern city life, and in an era where fear of social deviance was reaching an extreme high, it was largely seen as a reflection of the current time and where society could be heading, egged on by Calhoun's provocative language and allegorical design of his test environment, made to look like a city. Population density quickly became a common topic. Psychologist Carl Rogers, in his work Some Social Issues Which Concern Me, stated that, quote, "The resemblance to human behavior is frightening. In humans we see poor family relationships, the lack of caring, the complete alienation, the magnetic attraction of overcrowding, the lack of involvement which is so great that it permits people to watch a long drawn-out murder without so much as calling the police. Perhaps all city dwellers are inhabitants of a behavioral sink." Unquote. Soon after, studies of dense urban environments were conducted to see if these effects translated directly to humans, but what they found was inconclusive and unsatisfying. Despite the suggestions of Calhoun's rats, humans in cities reacted differently or sometimes opposite the manner that researchers expected, depending on the location. No matter how they tried, no evidence of a widespread behavioral sink could be found in urban areas. But this did not dissuade Calhoun. Even as others explored the problem of overcrowding, Calhoun frantically continued his research. Now a celebrated success and emboldened by the public acceptance of his ideas, he resumed his work at NIM on an even larger scale, though again away from the public eye. He spent his time on new subjects as he continued to perfect his enclosures and experiments until finally, after 11 years, Calhoun revealed his magnum opus through an article he entitled Death Squared, which was published in the journal Proceedings of the Royal Society of Medicine in January of 1973. The lengthy opening to this article was undeniably apocalyptic. Calhoun wrote, "I shall largely speak of mice, but my thoughts are on man, on healing, on life and its evolution. Threatening life and evolution are the two deaths, death of the spirit and death of the body. Evolution, in terms of ancient wisdom, is the acquisition of access to the tree of life." Unquote. He goes on to heavily reference revelations and of the riders of the apocalypse, using them to proclaim that the Hippocratic Oath applies not only to the body, but to the spirit. After this dramatic introduction, he described his test. For the most part, these new experiments were similar to his 1963 trials, including unlimited access to food and water, protection from the elements and predators, and safeguards against disease. Many parts, however, were drastically altered. As Calhoun mentions in his introduction, the Norway rats used in his first publicized experiments were replaced with albino house mice.
We're going to stop it right there. Albino rats. Pick it up. Part 3. The rat race is population control. Black light.